Very warm, good evening. This is Arunava Chaudhuri. You're live on my YouTube channel, and it seems like there is a little bit of 1 second. Let me just try and clear up. It's a bit of a easy on the camera. 1 sec. Yeah, it's better. Um, very good evening. It's July the 22nd, 2026. It's another Indian football and more discussion. We'll talk about the Indian Super League and other things that are happening in the world of football. And if you haven't, as I always like to say, please do like, share, and subscribe to Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias and also visit arunfoot.com and do watch my short videos. Did something today on the ISL preparations and especially regarding the payment or non-payment of the first installment of the fee from the clubs and how there have been adjustments. So as always, like it, share it, and subscribe. Thanks a lot. Hi, Shom. Welcome back. AIFF issue final warning, one paid participation fee to Intercash Internship FC. Shom, it's not a final warning. It's sort of a warning with a deadline, sort of, that pay your fees or otherwise, we will be forced to take action. There's still no clarity what is the issue at Jamshedpur FC. So I think that's worth a follow. What's happening at Jamshedpur FC? Why suddenly um, a Tata-backed team is sort of not hasn't paid the fees. Intercash are looking for new investors. And that will be an interesting thing. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see what comes out of it. We still have promotion relegation. I said, is it a good thing or we still have closed league? Oritra, we have promotional relegation. As you see, Diamond Harbour FC are the promoted IFL champions from last season, and Mohammedan Sporting have been relegated. So that's the current sort of status. So we don't have a closed league. That closed league was sort of stopped 4 seasons back when Punjab FC got promoted, and so therefore that's it. Is it a good thing? Um, I'm very very the normal football fan in me always will want promotion and relegation. I think that's very normal part of football to have promotion and relegation. But if I look at it from an Indian perspective, if I look at it from an ISL perspective, I look at it especially from a financial perspective on how the league needs to sort of run, then maybe a closed league might not be the worst thing to do. And the question is how many teams, and I've said in the last few years, and uh, um, so therefore, yeah, so therefore that's the thing, and um, it's difficult. It's difficult to judge what's the right, what's the wrong. Ashwin Deccan player is signed for a UE second division club. Some positive news. Parth, I read it. Yeah, let's see. I would like to know the background of that story of how the player got there, why he signed for the club, why the club assigned him. Because it looks, you know, um, looks very random to me. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I would love to know more about that story because if he's been signed on merit, that's great. But if there's other reasons, I would even want to know that as well. There's a journalist called Vikram Gupta, and he said something about Messiah. Now people in Insta um, are targeting him. Sure, I've seen the video when he's asking very valid questions. But again, the so-called troll army is there. You realize that yesterday people are willing to defend it, and yeah, it's a problem. And um, but again, who's gonna answer the questions? Nobody's gonna do. Whenever we have introduced an ISL, so no idea. Given the realities of at this moment of finances in the Indian Super League, looking at the infrastructure available, I don't see VR coming in the short term. It's a mid to long term project, I think, for Indian football, and let's wait and see. I think we are after this World Cup and after all that we've seen, also decisions with VR because of VR. A lot of questions remain, and therefore that's and therefore for me, yeah, VR is not a finished product, and this World Cup has shown that some of the discussions regarding decisions by referees have simply just moved um, from a on-field decision to sort of VR. So therefore, VR. Let's wait and see what happens. How's Jamshedpur CFE spending its Tata? Naruto, as I said, it raises a lot of questions about Tata's commitment towards Indian football. Simple, right? They're committed towards their grassroots and youth football. 100% they are. But are they committed to the Indian Super League and Jamshedpur FC being part of the Indian Super League? And there, I guess, I fear the question is, or the answer rather is, there's a big maybe, right? At this moment in time about it. And we'll have to wait and see, right? And therefore, for me, um, because I think everybody is evaluating where this whole journey is going. If you're an owner, uh, you know, uh, you know, so therefore, let's wait and see. How can clubs be financially viable? Because without investment, football won't grow in India. Or through investment is there, no? If someone is telling me that there is no investment in Indian football, that is very, very wrong. There are still people willing to invest across the board in clubs and teams, academies, how they're funding otherwise, and and so for me, the financial viability comes in when the system becomes viable, when the broadcaster also realizes there's a value to buy rights of a football property, right? That's how the Premier League survives, the Bundesliga, La Liga, and all these big leagues around the world. And so therefore, yeah, and that's the challenge. Who's going to give you the money to do that? Any update on the ASEAN Cup draw? No. But I've not heard anything in regard to the ASEAN Cup draw. I guess give it some time. The World Cup just finished 3 days ago. It's a FIFA event. I guess maybe the draw might be at some stage in August or maybe in early September. Maybe the draw. I don't know, but I've not heard anything. What do you think about referees in India? Because once I visited UK and asked coaches there about difference between Indian and other referees, he said Indian referees blow their whistles too often. So I don't know how you can ask an English coach, and English coach will tell you, oh, that they blow their whistle too often. I don't know. The standard of refereeing in let's say in Europe is going to be higher, right? And you realize that also the way that referees operate in even in a FIFA World Cup, a South American, Central or North American, or an African or Asian referee is mainly different than to the guys in Europe. So that's that. Does he blow it too often? I don't know. Sometimes they allow it to roll. Um, the simple thing is it needs to be better, right? We're just targeting few people sitting in foreign countries are the only camera. Only one who's working for Indian football from grassroots. Naruto, I that's why I don't want to talk about it because it's for me it's a waste of time. Right? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of space. I said that yesterday. People don't still want to argue. They think they know better. He knows better. He thinks he knows better. He does better. Take it, then do it. Then show it. Then prove it. No, you haven't. You've not done anything worthwhile over the last 15 years. That's the reality. What do you feel about situation of clubs like Shillong that are good enough but still not capable enough financially to be in the ISL? Part the problem is of a Shillong Lajong or of let's say an Aizawl FC, just to name two of the clubs, is um, you're doing good work to a certain level, but we need to be honest enough to say that if we want clubs playing in the Indian Super League, uh, you have to have the financial might to be able to play in the ISL. If you don't have that financial might, then that question needs to be asked, right? Is it are you good enough or not, right? And if you don't have the financial backdrop to play, if you don't have the infrastructure to play Indian Super League, then that question needs to be asked, right? And as much as I love that the work that Shillong Lanjong is putting in and the shift they're putting into to try and trying to work on and grow the football, then to me, the problem is again the financial side is very very important because we've diluted the ISL by allowing. Sorry, we have already diluted the Indian Super League by allowing teams like Mohammedan Sporting to come in last year. To me, very, very clear, financially not strong enough to be in the ISL. Diamond Harbour seems to be heading in the same direction. Um, Even Hyderabad FC. So the commercial stability of the league, of individual teams, um, so that has to be seen. Not happy with Antonio, the new signing of Northeast. Okay, Arnav. Can be, cannot be. Sir, a Korean coach said that you must have at least 200 quality pool player to reach level of World Cup. Show him. One coach will tell you 50, another will tell you 200, someone will tell you, no, you need to have 500 kids or 500 boys who are good enough. Um, there are nations where you have one or two exceptional players, so therefore for me, there's no single formula for success, right? And if someone in South Korea says that, if someone says something in Japan, listen, they have a very organized football structure which is comparable, uh, you know, and yeah, we have to fight our own battles. It's high time clubs invest in their youth teams. If they only focus on winning the league, it won't sustain in the long run. Or yeah, it won't sustain in the long run is, and they don't care. Again, I think Mr. Goenka has been very clear about that. He wants to win, right? So therefore, for me, as valid as your point is, but nobody cares, right? So for me, um, if they want to win, they want to win. So that's the problem. In Jamshedpur FC, CSL and my start is still stalling the payment. Parth, not Jamshedpur FC is a CSR project to me, if I remember right. Tata Football Academy was a CSR project, an original CSR project of Rasim Modi, who started it or allowed it to be started in 1986. Jamshedpur FC was a commercial venture from Tata Steel. And the question to me is Tata Steel by this doing this saying, you know what, we're done with playing ISL, we're gonna pull the team out. I honestly don't know. Yeah. IFL only Shillong Lajang have made money last season and they will try and avoid going to ISL was losses become 5 times. Shom, I don't know how you're saying that Shillong Lajong made money. Or even in an IFL standard, I don't know how they're gonna make money. Yeah. Do you feel after all these chatter, Indian strikers would get some regular playing time? With Rothrono. And an Indian striker will get playing time if he's better than whoever is in front of him, ahead of him, or if they're playing two strikers and he gets a chance. You know. So there's all these, again, that AFF idea, initiative makes no sense because define to me what is a striker. Is it an out and out number nine? Is it maybe an attacking winger? What is a striker? Right. So therefore, all these conversations, sadly, um, make no sense. Sadly. Hey, Anupam, UAE second division club Al Ramsan 24 midfielder Namna Ralte, is that true? And if so, how do you see this move and others could follow? Anupam, I know little to nothing about it, so I would like to know what this whole conversation about this transfer is. Why is the player going there? Is there something, again, Sri Deccan being a strong group, are they maybe placing the player over there? I have no information. I've not been able to get any information from anyone in the UAE so far who's trying to explain to me how this transfer's come on. If the player gets there, if the player gets to play again, or is it maybe an extended training stint? Um, so therefore, for me, the question is, how does it work? How does it not work? And you know, so yeah, I would love to have more information on this before I actually comment on it, because um, it's so therefore for me, um, let's wait and see what happens, and if the boy has been genuinely um, picked up, um, then brilliant, then lovely, and that's a step forward. That's good. Mumbai City transfer updates. Rohit, nothing as such concrete that we can speak about. There've been some talks with players, but yeah, we're waiting for more to see what happens. Why owners are not asking the CEOs when they were blamed for clubs to not make profits or not building infrastructures? We should have seen a lot of resignation, but didn't happen. We should have building infrastructure means that you would spend more money, right? So for me, mm, you know, to me the question is, um, um, and making profits. If I'm supposed to make profits with the given realities, um, in an ISL scenario, so you would force me to build a team actually for I League three and win, um, and play in the ISL. That way, maybe you would come close to making profits. So I think the owners know, if people have been investing for 10, 12 years into the system, or even longer, you know, so therefore let's wait and see it. And again, resignation, if you want to see resignations, that means that there's an introspection happening, right? That's also a question that then needs to be asked. Is there an introspection happening at that level? Are people asking themselves, hey, did I do it right? Did I do it wrong? Um, so therefore, yeah, a lot of questions that should need to be asked. But yeah, let's wait and see. KC has such big fan base, still couldn't win the league. Why? Sure, a big fan base doesn't mean that you will be successful. Again, very, very big clubs around the world have won little to nothing, right? So the correlation, oh, you know what? I have huge supports. That's why I have to win trophies. Doesn't work. Sorry, doesn't exist. Looking at the current situation in the country, sports was the discussion panel looks very less likely. The matter is not a matter of a discussion in the parliament. There is work that is going on in the background. As I said, it's a 2-year plan. It's not something which is going to be done in 3, 4, 5 weeks and then it's sorted. We have to give it time. Hi, Cartman. Welcome back. Now that I heard about three tier Santosh trophies, is that true? It's hard to tell nowadays which news is true, which isn't, especially on the football. Anupam, I've read it as well. Someone actually shared it with me. Um, and again, if it is a three-tier Santosh Trophy, yeah, maybe it makes sense. Maybe it does make sense, because to me, uh, you know, uh, you know, um, so therefore for me, again, if there is a three-tier system, where you're trying to give the states the right exposure, okay, but it is nothing more, nothing less, in my opinion. Let's not talk about sports passport now, because whole process will take 2 years. Until that time, we might have already knocked out a World Cup qualifiers. So yeah, again, it is the whole sports passport discussion conversation is not linked to football, right? It is not a football discussion. So therefore, for me, it is about Indian sports. India hosting Olympic will be the greatest PR disaster India will have in modern history. It's even economically, socially makes sense to host it. Catman, um, I think economically, I don't know if your PR is negative, and that's always the question, you know. Um, then the question is, will it then be an economic success? Because the investment that you make into in Olympics or into hosting a FIFA World Cup, sometimes the biggest gain of that is positive PR, or PR in general, right? Sometimes they say bad PR is better than no PR, and that is a question economically. I think socially, I would hope that if India get to host the Olympics, or at least get into the conversation of hosting Olympics, then there's a little bit more conversation about sports in general, in regard to sports in schools and in colleges and everyday life. That would be the biggest achievement if we can get that going via an Olympic hosting discussion. These days on Insta, there's so much fake transfer news. I don't get that. Yeah, sure. That's the world today, sadly. Hi, Jason. U20 men, AFC preparations, U70 women's Asian Cup preparations, status, support team kit, travel destination, yeah, head coach for candidates. Um, Jason, they're preparing. The kit conversation is, I think, done because Nivea now is the general kitting partner of the All India Football Federation. So that is done. Travel will be done accordingly, depending on where you're playing friendlies and then where you're playing the final round. And the selection to some extent has happened, right? At least in the men's, I think 25 boys have been chosen, and some of them were playing in Japan for um, Bangalore FC, Punjab FC, and FC Goa on that Reliance Foundation tour. And yeah, and U70 women, Joachim Alexanderson is back. So that's a very, 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 very important, very, very good news that he's back. And U15 head coach, I don't know who the candidates are, how the AIFF will select. Will it be internally or will be a new coach appointed? We'll have to wait and see what the AIFF does. Condition of Inter Kashi looks very bad the way things are going. Don't be so sure we'll replace them in ISL. There are certain things, there are realities. And I don't see Churchill Brothers again. Churchill Brothers is trying to force their way in. The question is, what do the clubs do? Right? Do they accept it? Because now it's not just about the AFF putting them into the ISL. Because now the ISL is being run by the clubs, and the clubs need to still okay it. And at the moment, if I'm right, again, this is Indian football. This is the AFF. Churchill Brothers are actually an I League Two team. They're not even an IFL team because, as per AFF, they were relegated from the IFL to the I League Two because they didn't play IFL last season. U20 World Cup qualifiers started September, right? We improve it. We have tough group. I don't see us getting through. It's not World Cup qualifiers, it's Asian Cup qualifiers, and we have not qualified for the Asian Cup in the last 20 plus years. So that's your first problem that we have. I somehow feel India would struggle to make it to semis this SAF Cup. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan are superior at the moment with their origin players. Ritripato, it depends on the group. So that's the first one. Secondly, is it going to be played in November? If it is played in November, will we play? Will we not play? Um, there's a lot of questions which is there. And then the question, of course, is also there. What's the status of Nepal? Will they be re-inducted into football? Um, a lot of these questions are there at the moment. Something needs to be done about Indian forwards playing more. There's hardly 6, 7 Indian strikers playing in the top two divisions of our country. How do you expect to produce a world-class striker then? Bharat, first of all, don't say world-class. That's your first mistake. We don't create world-class strikers. So that's the first thing which I would like to say. Even if we create an Indian class striker, that would be a start. But the problem is with the strikers is the strikers need to be better that the clubs and the coaches are forced to play them, right? You need to play on merit. You can't play on quota. If we're playing players on quota, it will reduce the quality of the league. And that is, for example, visible in I League 2. By saying, you know what, we allow zero foreigners, the level is dropped. That's a reality. And therefore, um, yeah, the clubs need to work more and the strikers need to fight it through. Hey, Sammy, good evening. Good to see you again as well. Is there any news regarding implementation salary cap maybe from this season or next one? No. Sammy, if you see the way, for example, Mohan Bagan has been signing players for what kind of salaries, then there is at the moment no implementation of salary cap. The question is of the salary cap, and I've said this a few times or multiple times actually on this very channel over the last few months and years actually, is who's going to check and realize, are they playing by the rules? Right, to me, that's going to be our biggest question. If you want to implement a salary cap, do we care about the salary cap in the sense saying, hey, Mohan Super Giant, for example, you can only spend, let's say, 20 crores, and then, are there any deals here or there to pay off the players? Hi, Blue, welcome back. So you know that Pakistan defeated Afghanistan in June window. How will we win against them? Sure. Because Pakistan has beaten Afghanistan doesn't mean that Pakistan will beat us. So that correlation doesn't work. And again, let them play it against us. Let's see. If ISL clubs don't invest in new product, then Reliance is doing what the other countries doing the same. then is sorry, let me read this again. Ritu. If ISL clubs don't invest in youth program, then Reliance is doing, which is the other academies doing the same. Um, to some extent, in the past, you would have said Bangalore FC is doing it. Again, to say ISL clubs not doing it would be wrong. FC Goa has done some part. Even the Blasters had done some stuff. Even Mumbai City, Northeast United. Reliance is doing certain things. Punjab is doing it. So actually, it is actually, if you want to see a lot of the ISL academies. So there's no chance we will have OCI players in this World Cup cycle as well. Ritu Bhatta, it depends on a number of factors. How quickly can the government get the whole sports passport program cleared? That's one. And when do we start playing? If we start playing in March next year in the first round and first forced to play a team who might be an issue for us, then the qualifiers might be over before it started for most of the world. So therefore, these are some of the realities, and yeah, let's wait and see what happens. Even I say clubs are culprit not to get fan base and did lazy marketing. I think Delhi SC have done amazing job by doing community marketing. Got honest, and like Mumbai, a very less audience. Yeah, Aman, the question is, I see it from a different perspective in regard to audience. It is always a one-way street and saying, hey, the club needs to do this, the club needs to do that. Oh, you're doing this marketing, do that marketing. And I remember also from the first season of the ISL with all the marketing efforts that you put in, it is not a one-way street that I need to get you, let's say, off the couch to come and watch me play, right? Um, and how do I get to you? How do and that's the thing. And so therefore it's yeah. Community work is very, very difficult. And then of course targeting the right communities to say, listen, in 3, 4, 5 years these people will come. Do I have money to spend on that? That's the other thing. Do I have money to spend on these things? A lot of clubs have tried, and if you see how much the ISL was spending in season, especially season 1, 2, and 3, especially then, and then you see the outcome and say, you know, cost ratio, success factor, it doesn't stand. I don't want to host Olympics because people from different countries come and see the tobacco stains everywhere. So, yeah, hosting major event will put your country under a microscope. Look at how Qatar suddenly got their bribing. FIFA came out for us. First, every week there's nothing. So some referee getting denied visa. Okay. There was one referee who was denied visa, Bablus. I don't know how many there was every week it was coming out, but yeah, there are other things which come out rather than those things that you guys have mentioned. What sense does it make for India to play friendly Singapore, Yemen when we face teams like Uzbekistan and Syria in the qualifiers? But you have to play whoever you can get. You think that a Japan or a Korea or I don't know, Central Asian countries, Iraq and all would like to face us? We have to again, and this is, if you like it or not, sometimes these friendlies that you have to organize it's not easy. It's not easy for the FF, you know. So yeah, so therefore it is that understanding needs to be there. Do you see us going back into 170s in FIFA ranking? To be honest, no. I don't think that we'll get that bad, but again, I think 150s are surely possible, sadly for us. What is in marketing and stuff always don't get money? Who will watch them in effort that can help include student. Blue, I don't think it's about DFC, it's about Sporting Club Delhi. I think it was not about Delhi FC. Delhi FC does no marketing and nobody cares about them, I think. Um, and I don't think they're an IFL team anymore, right? They didn't play. So therefore, these are some of the things that people talk about. Yeah, realities of our system, of our the weaknesses of our system. Let's put it this way. And yeah, it is sadly the way it is at the moment. So therefore, that's thing. More than 30 minutes. Quick reminder: if you have not, please do give it a thumbs up, give it a like. You're on Arun Foot. If you're liking our discussion, 12 likes so far. Thank you very much. And if you haven't share with other people to potentially join us. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, yes, there are people who actually watch these discussions. Do subscribe to the channel at the moment as I speak to you. 4,654. Thank you very much, all of you. And let's keep on growing the Arun Foot community. Thank you for that as well. My tweet got viral, and in one of BJP Pro channel who covers Messiah video stated that I am paid to say this. That's why I was on. These days, if you speak the truth, a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. And Indian football is a very, very good example. And yeah, again, I respect you and others who still say what is real, you know, and yeah, this whole going to Europe and playing the tournament is nice. It's good exposure for the boys. But if you're winning by those margins, it makes no sense. Yeah, play quality teams rather than these competitions, small-sided fields and whatever. It makes no sense. Vishnu says, Zen says, someone can expect AIFF president election. It's in December, Vishnu. The elections in December. How will you rate this World Cup? Blue, that's a very good question because I think let um, the World Cup sort of trickle down a little. Let us um, get a little feeling of how things went, and then maybe we can have a conversation about this World Cup. Because to me, there were a lot of highs, a lot of lows. I feel there was a lack of quality because none of the teams really played through well through the tournament. Even if you look at the semi-finalists, the only team which to the quarters actually convinced me was France. Right? Not even Spain. Spain won it in the end because they did really well in the semis and the final, but they didn't convince me. England also had luck on their side and this and that. And let me not get started on Argentina. Never a World Cup finalist team. So therefore, quality is a thing. But if I see um, if I see a Norway on the other side, if I see a Morocco on the other side, Senegal as well, there's some teams who've been had very interesting campaigns. But is the overall we saw a lot of goals. So good, bad. I think let's talk about it in 3 months, in 6 months, and then we can most probably rate the 2026 FIFA World Cup a little bit better because it is always, I think, challenging. Ozinia looks a bit like Abhinandan Sekri, the News Laundry founder. Okay, Ritru. 20 watching, 13 likes. Come on, guys, start liking. It's free, of course. Yeah, thanks, Shom. As I said, do like, share, and subscribe. Can Vachum be in election for president? Vishnu, theoretically, yes. Theoretically, Bhutia can be part of the election. Is Bhutia going to stand? It's a question for him to decide. And all the others who are potential candidates for presidency or executive committee of the AIFF. Zidane, the next coach of France, they go after great footballers like Lombrant, Deschamps, and Zidane. Hitesh, they don't go after great footballers. They go after people who have been great footballers, but also have had some level of, uh, you know, uh, um, you know, have had a certain level of success. Be it Laurent Blanc, Didier Deschamps. Look at what he did, and Zinedine Zidane at Real Madrid has been a sensation, right? So therefore, I don't think they you know. Um, so therefore, for me, yeah, great players. Any news about Kerala Super League? We impressed your opinion. Vishnu, I've not heard anything lately, to be very honest. They've been very quiet. And they've done impact wise okay. The little that I've seen of the football, I wasn't impressed, to be very honest. But to sustain the league, to grow the league, that's going to be um, very, very challenging. So that will be very interesting to see how now they plan to implement season three. They were lucky that season two happened in a window where the ISL was not happening, so that I think helped them to play the league. And now season three will be very interesting to see how they place it, and when it starts, when it will be held. So yeah, a lot of questions, a lot of those typical questions will then be asked, I guess, at the time of whenever it's going to be staged. When are people are saying this World Cup will be forgetful, except two teams like Egypt, France. It's only because of 48 teams. 64 teams, I think it will be more dampening with FIFA. Agreed. Anupam, again, before you even mention France and Egypt, I think Cape Verde would be the country that I think we should talk about. That was to me the most impressive of all. What Cape Verde played in this tournament. Really impressive, and a small little island nation. Is it because of 48 teams? No, we also had those matches in a 32 team World Cup. The problem is with all these competitions, and we have this in the UEFA Champions League also as well. It gets interesting in the quarters and the pre-quarters. Because if you have a league and then you have knockouts, then knockouts, and the same thing, sadly, interesting, not sadly, interesting, applies also to the Indian Super League, right? If you look at take last season out, but the season before, the biggest interest was in the knockouts. So therefore, a straight knockout match, you could win or you could go home. Yeah. So therefore, yeah, it is that, and there's always those matches that people will remember or matches that people forget. And again, different nationalities will remember different matches. But again, I think the story of the tournament, Cup of Earth, will be I think will be remembered. And yeah, Egypt, Argentina, surely, or Argentina matches in general will be remembered. England's sensational match against Mexico will be remembered. France, of course, in some of their games. But yeah, on 64, yeah, it's what happens. Will be interesting to see what happens if a 64 team World Cup is installed. No, we're actually a final worthy team, in my opinion. Hope they keep on the tempo. Blue, yeah, for example. And that's the point, right? The longer you talk, suddenly the more teams you start talking about. As I said, Norway is something to talk about. Cape Verde, as I said, Senegal would be something to speak about. Morocco would be something to speak about. So yeah, a lot of these teams to speak about. Um, and yeah, think about it. According to you, how's your perfect AFF president looks like? Shom, there is no perfect AFF president or the perfect president. Again, mm, what does he need to have? He needs to have clout, political clout. I think that would be important to get things done. Um, and have a sensible head. Allow the people who are in the administrative positions to run the game, and and yeah, and be able to influence things in a positive way. That would be my yes, don't call it perfect, but what I would expect from someone as an AFF president, or would hope to expect from someone as an AFF president. Any news regarding Churchill brothers? Arun, they did a cryptic post a few days ago that some news is coming with them. Again, a lot of speculation was there that they're going to take over Diamond Harbour FC and take their slot in the ISL, which, in my opinion, needs to be questioned then by the clubs. Is it possible and all that stuff? There are a lot of ramifications on that, but I've not heard and nothing concrete as such on them. Haven't teams need to stop throwing games, and Asia needs to be much better to compete. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Morocco, Senegal, Egypt, just to name them. And Asia needs to be much better. Asia was, in my opinion, very poor. Why are talents not coming out from Bengal? They are so passionate with football. You see, passion about football is not about how good of players you produce. If passion was um, is a factor, then Bengal would be producing world class players left, right, and center. If at the level, or even a Bangladesh, if you see some of the videos during this World Cup from Dhaka or from other cities, right? So passion is great to have, but passion doesn't mean the groundwork needs to be, you know. So that's the thing. If you ask me, with Asian team, there are certain nations getting too much of favor. Oh, Shwam, you'll say that someone else with something else. No, we were not good enough. So that's the thing. Do you think Japan unachieved? They were in great hot form before the World Cup? Yes, Sidesh. Japan, besides um, Norway, were my dark horse. And Japan, again, knockouts, and Japan did with Brazil what England did with Argentina. They were leading, and suddenly they stop playing, and then the opponent takes over, and then you lose the match. Very very sad. Thailand are one HSG must keep an eye on, and also Tajikistan they really played so well against us. So I'm playing well against us is not a standard, right? So to me, Thailand, yeah, I'm more interested to see how Indonesia do with their overseas players. Indonesia, I think, is the team to watch in the next few years in Asia. You reckon we'll qualify for 128 team World Cup? Being Regis, of course, insightful conversation always. Thanks, Johnson. 128. If you look at our rankings at the moment, no. So for me, in theory, again, it depends how many slots Asia gets. In theory, it's a question of how good are we actually to get into that phase. Um, yeah, it's difficult, right? So for me, um, it's always about does it work, does it not work? Yeah, it's difficult to say, and um, it's not a yes or a no question answer. Sorry, from my side, in the sense that yeah, let's see. So why don't you regularly post reels on Insta? It will help you reach on YouTube. Show him I did this, and again, yes, I want to do it, and um, and yeah, I need to do it, but again, it's just so much of other stuff going on. Yeah, so let's see. Italy played in the Cricket World Cup without any passion for cricket. Orithro, perfect example. Very, very good example. Yeah. Anupam says, Arunava, looking at the transfers, players, and coaches, who do you think will be bottom three up? Mohanbagan gets relegated, will bring down us spending from the league. See, at the moment, too early. Anupam, let us get closer to the league. Let the teams fill up their slots, and then we'll decide. So so therefore, to today on the 22nd of July to speak about squads. So let's wait and see what happens. But to me, I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. But Japan's always so close yet so far. Yeah, sure. But there's a system to this madness. No? Japan seems to whenever knockouts come in, and even in the Asian Cup, they struggle in knockouts. You know, um, you know. So that's the reality, and so to me, yeah, Japan, one of those mysteries. Any news about Iron Bose who was called for Bangladesh national squad? Please explain about it. Vishnu, if you want detail about Aryan Bose and the FC Bayern World Squad, I actually did a proper video on the same video 1512. Um, as a proper explanation. The video has got nearly 1,000 views, so thanks for that, everyone. A simple thing is the international, the world squad, not the international squad. They call it the world squad. Is something where players who can't be signed by Bayern, they try to give an opportunity, look at them for a few weeks, and then they'll keep a track of it. I've not heard where Aryan Bose is. In regard to are they really going to track him or not? But I'll surely try and figure it out. In next 5 years, where do you see Bangladesh ranking jumping to? True, I have no idea. They need to get results, no? They've got the PR, right? Bangladesh has got PR, right? They did beat India, but Bangladesh, rest of the time, is not winning. So therefore, they need to win matches, win competitions, and then we can talk about the rest. And that's the challenge, in my opinion, for Bangladesh. That now let the hype sort of settle down. That's why, yeah. So therefore, for me, um, let's to me, yeah, I'm not clear where I see. And from answers, Vishnu is voice squad of Bayern, not in. Yeah, he's not in the main squad as said. He's in the world squad, and that's yeah, it's a testing ground. Yet once really Deccan player got signed in Qatar, second division. No, Zoraba, not Qatar, but UAE. I haven't got it confirmed, but there is the news that Lama Ralte has supposedly joined UAE second division club Al Rams. You know, so therefore, let's see. No idea if it's true or not. Um, I haven't got it confirmed. How is it that so many Unava academic kids get selected in age group teams? Or how many? How? What are you basing your statement on? There are more kids from other academies or clubs getting selected these days. These memes and trolls are best way to earn followers. Sadly, Shom seems to be. According to you, best grassroots academy apart from BFC, PFC, FC Goa. Vishnu, none of them are grassroots academies. A grassroots and an academy are two different things, right? Um, the grassroots is 6 to 12, and academy is sort of 12 to 18, 19. And if we want to talk about the best grassroots programs, as far as I have heard, I've never seen it physically myself, so that's always very difficult to speak about it. But supposedly it is the Nopang League jointly co-organized by the Mizoram Football Association as well as the Reliance Foundation. I sent two messages where they go, if you read anyways, how are you, sir? Vikram, I'm good, but sorry, you sent, no, just checking. No, I've not missed any messages. So if you could copy and paste them in again and or rewrite them, I'll try and answer your questions. Are there any chances of City Football Group getting back to Mumbai City FC if ISL Mumbai City things work in future couple of years? Till infinity, couple of years, I don't think so. A couple of years, things will not sort itself out in regard to ISL and Mumbai City. CFG coming back, maybe not. Again, they're de-investing also in other entities, so that has to also be said. It's not just Mumbai City. Let's wait and see. I don't see them coming back in the short term. Again, Indian football needs to transform itself. It needs to be financially viable. It needs to also produce a certain level of talent, which is interesting to a City Football Group. And all these things are things where I say, you know what, in the next 10 years, it looks very, very difficult, in my opinion, for them to say, hey, listen, we'll come back and rejoin Mumbai City. I would love that to happen because it strengthens Mumbai City, it strengthens Indian football. But if you ask me, that's a big, big challenge to see how it goes forward at the moment, if you ask me. In your opinion, what is the best way to eliminate age fraud? Is there any way even? Tobo, normally in other parts of the world, you have to register your child, let's say within 7 days at birth. That's the only way to eliminate age fraud, right? Because if I'm not wrong, here in Germany, I think you have to register your child after birth within 24 hours. So if I look at that, then, that's an interesting one. Sorry, with all the things happening in India, right? I think sports passport will be delayed by 2 or more years. So rather, the sports passport thing is something of the Indian Olympic Association as well as the sports ministry. And again, the whole parliament shebang and all that kind of stuff. Will that be needed or not? That's another question to me. And it's going to be, again, I've always said the time window is 2 years because said that in May. I said it's going to most probably run until May 2028. Let's wait and see what happens. What is residential academies which conduct trials by ISL teams? Is it for free after selection? Yeah. If you have a residential academy, you are selected into that. So therefore, for me, yeah, you learn football within their system. According to you, which club is focused on promoting us in local public since ISL started? That's a good question. Um, uh, mm, mm, mm. Tom, I don't see anyone. I don't see a club which has focused on promoting, forget the ISF promoting themselves. Some stuff has happened. Um, some of it has happened organically. I think Kerala Blasters, for example, happened organically. BFC happened organically before even playing ISL in the I League. So that's not a focused promotion. Certain things just clicked. Even in the first two seasons at Mumbai City, certain things clicked, especially in season one. A lot of things, we did a lot of things, yes, but there was just a buzz which worked. And so therefore, I think and the question is what kind of promotion does work, right? That's the challenge. Yeah. And yeah, so therefore that's the thing. Oh, now with Nepal FIFA ban, is there any merit to playing in SAF with a senior men's squad? Do you think SAF should be used as a launchpad for youngsters? You don't at most, if not why? Anupam, think of SAF as the zonal body as they are, and they are doing a national team competition, a senior national team competition, and you are selling sponsorship, TV rights, and other things. And India says to you, you know what? For us, actually, it's better to send our under 23s. That devalues the tournament. And to me, that's why if you see over the years, if you see in the history of the SAF Cup, let me go through SAF, the South Asian Football Championship, right? Why are there so big gaps, right? Um, you had 19, so initially was started as a two year each, right? 93, 95, 97, 99. 2001 didn't happen. 2003 was played. 2005, 2008, 9, 11, 13, 15, 18, 21, 23, 26. So it's actually supposedly played in a 2 year cycle, and very often it got, uh, you know, postponed because India didn't want to send teams. Again, it was always a calendar issue. Or India said, I know now on a few occasions that India wanted to send in under 23, and SAF said, no, you have to send the senior team. So therefore, what is good for us is the one thing. The other side of the story is what is good for the SAF region, for South Asian football. And those two things sometimes sadly clash. But don't you think age fraud accusation will may proof is lame? No. Incident, if I would always say that if you can prove that someone is not overage, you can do that, right? And there will be players that will look older, where you can have that conversation. So, okay, is he really that age? But there are academies who've systematically done this, and therefore academies have done this because it's about winning, right? And it's not about player development. So therefore, for me, always, um, without any proof is lame. Yeah, the other way around, not the way if you're making that accusation, because it is, you know, and that's the biggest problem. If you've won titles with that, if you know the history of things in regard to age fraud, very simply, why is there an alliance of clubs, academies, institutions against age fraud was saying, we are not playing. If we're not forced to, uh, you know, um, to play teams, we will not play them because we don't trust their ages. So welcome to that world. Nanda to Odisha FC, they also extend Pritya Raimalia's contract with them, so the Indian core is solid. Blue, Odisha survived last season because the Indian uh, core has been solid, right? So add on top of that Carlos Delgado, very, very solid team. My prediction is if we don't get good president on national team and ecosystem is I expect Anas Rank will end up hiring fraud this coach who knows nothing about modern football. I mean, um, uh, again, I don't know if you were there when Shom asked about what is the ideal or perfect president. The problem is here is who will stand, who's the right person, right? And that is to me the starting and ending. And even if the right person stands, will he do the right things to take Indian football in the right direction? To me, that's a big problem, a big challenge. Uh, you know, And that's the issue. That's the issue to me. And yeah, let's see who stands, let's see who wins, and then let's see what happens. This Mohammed Taha of Indian 50 player looks pure age fraud. See his face, he don't look like a kid. And Arman, and that's the point to me is if you have this doubt, if I have a doubt about players, then be it the AFF or be it the respective clubs or academies need to show and say, listen, I can prove that he's of this and this age. And it's just not bogus proof, but real proof. That's the whole thing. I remember with Round Glass Punjab, we had this issue when we started the academy, and there were two or three players who we did not take because we were not clear about their age. And that's the right way to do it. In my opinion, the best way to innovate age fraud is registering players early through grassroots leagues between age of 5 to 10. So now, great, you can do that, but again, I can re-register with under a new name. That's yeah, and so therefore, your idea is good, but again, how do you implement it? So then the youth leagues can innovate players whose birth certificates are issued years after the date of birth. Tobo, yes and no, because the question to me is, if we eliminate players, again, our talent pool is already limited. So if I eliminate players with fraudulent documents, what are we talking about? Are we talking 15-20% of the players not being registered, right? Or where new documents issued? So the problem is India doesn't have a foolproof problem, the foolproof system. This is the problem, right? Our problem is that age verification and confirmation is very, very vague. Even TW3 tests with certain players is not clear. If, uh, uh, yeah, that's the problem. And that is something that is, more, you need doctors, you need, people in sports science to really think about, and also authorities with where registrations, other things happen, need to come together and find a solution to this. Because Tobo, we can't, if we eliminate these players, we're eliminating potential talent. So um, I want, if players are talented, they should play. They should not be stopped, but they should play at the right age. No. According to me, creating that buzz in local public is so important because it automatically increases interest in sport and people pay ticket prices to support the team. This is not a failure from ISL clubs. No. Shoham, it is it the clubs have done it. Has it really increased your viewership? Because the fan today wants to be spoon fed. Sorry. Sorry for me to be critical from running a club is like, when people ask, oh, I don't know when a team is playing. Everybody has a phone today. You have Google on that phone or whatever. You can ask even, um and figure out what it is. The problem is this: creating a local buzz. Is 5 people, 10 people more coming to the stadium or not? You are saying yes. No, it's not. So the question is, how do you do it? And a lot of clubs fall back to that, and or entities in India generally do it and say, listen, let me do social media promotion. Does it make sense? I don't know. Anbai, what's the controversy around Argentina players coming out of team bus crying before final? Anuf, haven't heard about it. Sorry, can't tell you anything about it. When someone posts Indian football video, I watch comments on videos. People comments know nothing about Indian football. They have only knowledge of Insta videos. So, Vikram, that's the problem of this world. Listen, if if people were genuine football fans of Indian football, right? If all these people that are, listen, we would be in these. And I try to do these videos, these discussions on a regular basis. Maybe that is my persistence also. Um, yeah, many more people should be watching, should be following. But where is it? Right. So that's the problem that I have, you have, we have, that a lot of people seem to be saying that I follow Indian football and I love Indian football, this, that, everything. No, you don't. Right. So that's our problem. Ganacho Aston Villa, here we go. Thank you, God. Okay, Sean. Can you call Minerva fanboys and Indian football fanboys or just the casuals who know nothing about football? Casuals who know nothing about football. I think many, right? If you're interested about to know about football, then listen and watch football. Listen to there are enough people who are talking and criticate. Watch these Indian football discussions, right? The discussions of we are having is of a top level here on this channel, right? Listen to when Ashish comes on Kill Now and speaks at length and tries to answer questions of fans. There you will know what the realities are, right? But being a fanboy is nice. Support them, no problem. But at some stage, wake up to realities of the issues and problems of Indian football and what needs to be done and not just be told, you know. Problem is, these guys who are commenting should be asked about offside rule. They surely don't know anything about Indian football. They are just looking at the results and thinking we are actually progressing and he must be given support. Shom, that's a very good conclusion from your side. That's a very good conclusion, and it sums up really the issues and problems and that we aren't focusing on what we need to do. And yeah, it's some of this brutal reality, and we're unable to move to where we want and need to. Right. So that's the problem. Another for getting scouted, do you think short videos showing skills is enough? I remember watching a video on YouTube of European young goalkeepers showing mistakes as well. A good way to get scouted. No. Anupam, video scouting is always difficult. And I remember we've spoken about the FC Bayern World Squad. They did that in the first instance in 2020 because that COVID and the scouts were not doing stuff. So they, um, and it is, it is, it's a first introduction. And then normally what do scouts do? They normally watch these players um, live in action. And so for me, um, proper scouting is a very important aspect. Sorry, let me have a quick. For me, the biggest problem is, are we doing the proper scouting? Are we not doing proper scouting? You know? So therefore, scouting is a very complex thing. And a lot of parameters. And I've said this also, forget scouting at youth level, even watching matches. Um, I tell you, for example, Unity Cup. I watched the first match of the Unity Cup against Jamaica. We did a watch along, all this, great, fine, brilliant. And then I watched India versus Zimbabwe. And the insights that I got watching those 90 minutes plus live, because you're watching things live rather than watching it on television, is you get to see. That's why I said, and so therefore for me, that's very, very important. Video scouting, just too cheap, it doesn't work. Indian football, there's no accountability. If you ask for it, you get cancelled. Yeah. Yeah. Zorava, sadly, a big reality. I mean, the point is spot on. That's the sad reality. Accountability, and I don't understand why there's no level of introspection. Why don't people look at it and say, you know what, this thing and that thing is not going well. We need to work on things. Yeah. So therefore, for me, it is. Yeah, it's a sad situation. It's a difficult situation, and then let's wait and see where the things wander. Problem is not a single person, but the whole ecosystem needs a fix. Show him. Thank you. So for me, um, that's the thing. It's not, again, as I've said, you remove Kalyan Chaube and you think tomorrow things will be better. No, right? So therefore, that's the challenge for all of us to see how does Indian football change for the better? How can things improve? And if they don't improve, how does it move in the right direction? It's a big issue. It's a big problem, and we're nowhere near to a solution. We're nowhere near to a solution of getting things into the right direction, and that's the real problem, right? And so, if people are fighting over things, because if people also say there's not enough money in the system, of course there's enough money in the system. Looking at the reality of where we stand, listen, there are a lot of. Do you think Cap Verde has more money than us? Do you think a Curacao has more money than us? Do you think a Senegal has more money than us? Right. So, yeah. In Europe, how does a new formed club gather support? In Europe, normally new clubs don't form. Very, very rarely. I mean, and if you form, you normally have to go and start in the lowest division. So in the lowest division, it's about playing. It's not about gathering a fan base. Maybe if you make a few promotions and then suddenly, then you have to look at gathering a fan base. New clubs in Europe have to start in the lowest division. So therefore, the fan base discussion is normally not there. And in Europe, I I I don't have to work to gather a fan base. If I'm doing good work, people know about it. Suddenly, people start watching me live, will come and or follow me on social media, and suddenly it happens organically. Okay, then instead of inviting those players, can they be pushed up age groups if we're not clear about the age? Yes or no, because there is also an age bracket, right? So if you say, and that's the other thing, that's the only way to do it. But then if these boys are, where you don't know, okay, are you 15, are you 16? Okay, I'm not letting you play under 15, I'm making you play under 18. Ooh, that's the other question. So there is no perfect answer, but if we want to be clean, and this is I think this is the point that I want to reiterate. If we want to be clear of age fraud, then it is the job of the academies of the clubs to say, you know what, sorry, either you come clean how old you are, or your parents come clean, um, or it doesn't make sense. We won't sign you. But again, then that is what some of these clubs have done, right? In that initiative, which includes the Mizoram Football Association, BFC, FC Goa, Reliance Foundation, FC Madras, Dempo Sports Club. That was the first step. Vikrant Gupta eventually say very hard, asking who he is and reading read comments saying, say sorry, you don't know anything. Yeah, but that's the whole point, right? If you criticize him, everyone doesn't know anything. You don't know anything. Oh, he's done this. He's done nothing. Right? The harm this gentleman has done for Indian football is worse than anything he can ever do, which will be good for Indian football. Sorry, reality. Yeah, second division. What's the transfer like then? So, Joel, I'm hearing it. I've seen it. It's a big story on Indian social media, but but I honestly don't know if it's really true or not. So, and a lot of people are posting it, and yeah, again, genuine platforms are posting it, but again, I would like to know where's the source. Where's it coming from, right? So that's my concern with this transfer, right? And if I look at it, uh, Rams is a club from Ras Al Khaimah, second division, which is the third tier of UAE football, right? So I don't even know if foreigners are allowed. So yeah, so we'll have to wait and see until there's the confirmation from. Is there a confirmation from? 1 second. Is there a confirmation from the club? Let's see if the club have announced it themselves. Actually, whoa, okay. They actually did announce. Okay, if that is their own social media, they announced it 3 days ago themselves. Okay, let's wait and see. It looks genuine. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's why. Um, yeah. Also, would it help Indian football? Yeah, Sangai. For me, if we can include players of origin, yes, it will help us. If you ask about accountability, they will tell you that you are anti-national. Yeah, sure. Perhaps you say you 70-20. If we cooperate in that category, there's chances in World Cup in future. Yeah, it would, but how do we get them in? No? That's the whole conversation that we need to have in Indian football. Very, very big conversation on that, and yeah, very complex also one as such. Even TWTS is not always accurate for catching Ishwat, so how will you find the difference between a 12-year-old and 15-year-old aside height? As another, that's the whole point. No? And I've brought that example a few times of a player that we looked at in our first year of Round Glass, Punjab as an academy, and there were 3 tests done on the boys. One said 14.6, 15.4, and I think 16.4. Dr. Vesapes was one of the doctors who was involved in the process. It's difficult. But if I'm not sure of an age of a boy, I would at least say, you know what, sorry, I can't sign you, right? And this honesty needs to be there then from the academy, because I think that a lot of boys, if you go to them and say, listen, I think most of the boys know how old they are, right? Or at least the parents will know how old they are. And then, and I know also there are academies who are actually creating forged document, not forged, no, sorry, forging the age by creating new documents. That's also happened, right? And we've had players with double registration also in the old AFF system, where there was no sort of check in regard to, does this work, does that work? In India, everyone is anti-national, be it students, be it sports fans, be it no, probably would demand accountability. Yeah, so that was sad, but reality. Isn't Vikram Gupta the cricket journalist from Sports Tech? Yes, yes, Rawat. I think if the clip is right, again, correct me if I'm wrong. That was a clip in which they were talking about sports, and someone asked him, I think, a question, and therefore, yeah. So therefore, he then questioned the whole shebang about it. Right, 1 hour, 10 minutes. Quick reminder: if you haven't, not only those who are watching live, I know a lot of people watch it afterwards and listen to it. Thank you for those as well. If you can't join our lives, please like, please share, and please subscribe to Arun Foot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias on Insta, on X, on Threads, Blue Sky, and do follow arunfoot.com as well. As always, we need your support. If the channel wants to grow, needs to grow, without your support, that channel will not grow. So thank you as always for your support. And yeah, let's keep on growing in the Arun Foot family. Um, 14 likes so far. I think we can do better than that. And we stand at 4,656 subscribers here on Arun Foot. So thank you very much. And watch my short videos. Did something today on sort of the state of the Indian Super League, what's happening, what's not happening. Do watch that. Did the last 2 days a lot of stuff on Spain, on the World Cup. So therefore, do support, and thanks as always for your support, guys. Yeah, without it, this channel cannot grow. Everything starts from foundation. So to grow Indian football, our foundation should be strong, that no one can break it. Yeah, so perfectly said. I always say that if your foundation is weak, what Indian football's problem has been, the foundation is so weak that you try to build a high rise over top of it, and that high rise collapses once in a while, right? So for us, if we want to be more successful, if we want to be better, we need to sort out all those things. Yeah, and so therefore for me, um, that's a was a big problem, is a big problem. And and but our foundations, what are our foundations? Our foundations are, of course, grassroots and youth football. That's the one side, but there's also the administrative side of the foundation. That's weak as well. So as long as those things aren't sorted, as long as we are not strong enough to work on those things and build on those things, none of those things will happen, you know. And so therefore this is something which is um, yeah, clear to me, and it's a big problem, big issue. And I hope that we build on things. And yeah, yeah. So not easy. People love to put blame on single person on top of authority, but they don't realize that Indian football has been like this for years and years now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the whole challenge. No? It's not one person. Again, Kalyan has done a lot of things wrong, or the AIFF has done a lot of things wrong. But look at the whole pyramid of the system, within the ISL, IFL, academies, our coaches. We're not questioning our coaches. Our coaches are not talking about the World Cup, where I think is like, hey, you're talking about what De La Fuente has done, and what have you done, right? Parents are biggest culprit for age fraud. They want their kid to play football at highest level by taking someone else's opportunity. It will grow player at certain level, but then once he plays senior level, whole reality is exposed. Sure, senior level, a lot of players fizzle out. Why do players fizzle out after the so-called age of 16, 17 in India? Because they're older. Our problem is, how do we root out age fraud? How do we get genuine kids? And this has also been a question to the AFF, right? So, for example, I think the Odisha and Hyderabad academies had that problem. That big-bodied older boys kicked out the genuine ones. So it's a problem. Has Mohan Subhajan signed Dragic? Yes. As far hasn't he start? Yeah, Sujal, same. He started training with Mohan Subhajan, if I'm not wrong. Signed announced as well. While oops. Promise many parents fudge birth certificates to enroll their kids in academies in India. So, Ravar, it's not even about academy. It's about academics, right? It's about education also. That, oh, you know what, my kid could fail one or two classes, so this and that. So it's a general societal problem. It's a problem, right? So, and football and sports is the loser, right? And the problem is, why do our under 17s look so good? Because we're not playing an under 17 team, right? So that's the whole issue. You know the story where player was called next Sunil was overaged. So there were so many next Sunils in the last decade. I don't know which player you mean, but I know a few, and again across the years in our youth teams who have been overage, and yeah, and there have been teams in the past where every boy was overage. I remember national team under 17 a few years back where everyone was not under 17. Northeast has invested a lot in India's most promising talents this season. We will reality check for whole of Indian football whether the youth is ready or not. Yeah, but I don't know if that's the check in a one season or two season. The question to me is, I am now, maybe I'm a cynic, not even a skeptic. Maybe I'm a cynic where I say, you know what, I expect them to fail, and if they're successful, I'll turn it around. Right. So therefore, for me, that's the first thing. Can these kids be better? Can they prove that they can take the slots of the olders? And let's see. And talking about that Ramos Michigan play 16 they turned to about 24. No, Zoravar, I don't think we're not talking about a striker. I think what was yeah, I remember to be the youngest goal scorer in the ISL. And didn't he turn out to be 28? Not 24. I think he turned out to be 28 or something. Very bizarre. Because if you look at his face and mustache, if that boy is 16, then I don't know. I'm still 25. Right. So that's a problem. Parents don't care a lot about kids' football, to be honest. If they would start caring, then most probably age fraud would reduce a lot. Yeah, Sujal. Yeah, that's the whole point. And again, it's not about football. It's a societal issue in regard to sports that whoever is whatever his age could should needs to be, and he suddenly isn't. That's a problem. Age fraud is rampant in cricket as well, but is overlooked as it isn't a physical game, so age fraud doesn't matter there, despite having the richest cricket board. Um, and that's a problem, right? Um, so therefore, for me, um, that shows you that it is not just a Indian football issue, Indian football problem, but it's a generic problem in Indian sports, right? And that's something. Uh, yeah, how do you get rid of it? How do you stamp it out of the system? I honestly, I don't have an answer, right? Such an interesting story that the boy was born in 2008 and his parents made his date a birth certificate in 2017 as he was set to sign his first pro contract. Okay, yeah. A general player in the youth circuit that I'm looking up to is this player from BC named Rishikesh. He's 15, 6 foot, played South. He's 17 and 14. Time BC deserves to. Yeah, again, Sujal, most of the players that we look at 14, 15, 16, where are they at 2021? So, so therefore, this Rishikesh, all the others, right? How many talents have we gone and come and gone? Date of birth certificate is the first document made. Without that, you don't get admission in school as well. True, true, Shom. Just a few years back, a cricketer who took part in even one U19 Cricket World Cup turned to age fraud and was banned for years by BCCI. Yeah, but BCCI can afford to do that, right? Or is willing to do that. That's your whole issue, right? Which we find ourselves in. So let's see. Johan Benjamin playing in Slovenia has been called up for India 20 got tired of seeing Vishal Yadav and Umar to the miss hitters. Let's see. Let's see what these guys do. Again, That's the reality of our standard. If I, you, we like it or not, and these um, whoever the strikers are, they need to prove themselves, right, and show that they're capable of more. That's the challenge, right, for our players, whoever they are at under 17, under 20, under 23, and then at senior level, you have to be better than XYZ to be able to play at that, Uh, so that's the thing. So do you think players, once they turn 18, they refrain from going abroad and giving trials because they want to earn easy money? Shoham, easy money is the one thing, but again, who's giving you a trial abroad? My simple question would be to the top young Indian talent, who's going to give you in a decent league or the league where you standard wise could fit in, who's going to give you a chance? I would not know any. I'm very honest with you. To me, none come to mind, right? So if I remember that, um, then that's the reality, right? So yeah, easy money is a thing, and easy money, of course. You say easy money, no, it's for them. If you are from a poorer background, it's a lot of money, right? And are you taking the right decisions then on your career? Most probably not, right? Imagine with richest cricket board H4 is happening in Indian youth cricket. Imagine the creation of other youth sports. So says it all. No? I don't think there's anything wrong with U20 squad. These same guys look same in Arunachal last year and Uganda, but Anaka, they were offered to watch. Might be less time together or quality. Yeah, or maybe they weren't as good as you thought. They looked in Aizawl, in Arunachal. That's the other thing. It might not be that these boys might not be as good as you thought they were, and that's the thing as well. I think they play one or two good matches and then people get carried away, and then when they play bad, you realize, oh, maybe that's the general standard. Sometimes we caught in like match fixing Asian Sri Lankan league. Okay, so thing is, these people who are supporting Messiah will themselves hate him a few years back when the few years later, not back when the Rat to come out. So however, maybe they don't care about football. Right. I think a lot of people, generic fans who want Indian football to be successful, and any success story at the moment, yeah, um, would do. It's like if I, what kind of a story could have created during the World Cup? I don't know. Uh, what kind of story? Maybe maybe I could have created a story. Oh, I'm enabling an Indian national team player to get into the German system, and maybe playing third division. Let's say just for for a story's sake, saying, oh, you know what, yeah, one of our better national team players is going to get into a third division club in Germany. What a great story, right? If it's true or not, nobody would have checked. You know. So for me, yeah, that's the thing, right? Even I used to believe Messiah 5 years back. He still follows me on X, but I've learned the truth that way. Yeah, Zuravar, and think about it. What has happened in those 5 years? Nothing, right? For Indian football, nothing. Things are worse than they were 5 years ago. That's the reality. So, um, so that's the problem. I know of Messiah and all his past, but isn't Gothic Cup a reputed tournament? It's a, yeah, it is reputed in the sense of that is a grassroots football tournament to enjoy, play your football across all age groups. But there are also there's an easy one and a tougher one. For example, Sudeva Delhi went into the Puma Cup under 17s, which is the tougher competition. And Sudeva Delhi got their whatever kicked, right? So therefore, um, these tournaments are nice to play. It's some sort of exposure. Will it take Indian football back forward? No. What has happened? Think about it. Uh, the Bengal government, the CPM used to send teams to the Gothia Cup in the 80s and 90s, right? And IFA Mayor's 11, I think it used to be called, if I'm not wrong. Has it brought us anything? and they used to do decent as well, right? So it has no value. Do you agree that these Indian coaches who get license don't even pass exams because they are experienced? AIFF is giving licenses? No. Sure. No, I don't think so. It has happened, right? It is not en masse. The problem is, and it doesn't matter if it's an AFF license, an ASC, if it's a UEFA license, or let's say a license from South America, from CAF from North America. The coaching curriculum is one thing. It is a base. Hmm? You know? So what you do after getting your license, you know? So yeah. So therefore that's the thing. Um to me, getting a license is one thing, and what you do after that is more important than the license. Because if you get a coaching license, DCBA and Pro, what are you doing afterwards with that? That is the big question, in my opinion. Back in 2001, he claimed about a World Cup 2030 badge. He stopped talking about it post 2023. Yeah. And then moved to 2034, and now he stopped talking about 2034. Messiah batting with the elite division. Yeah. That's a much difficult one. So they were Delhi did get a draw against the top division Swedish side. Yeah, great part. But what is the value of that draw? Right? Some of these boys from that Swedish team will most probably become pros and play, who knows, maybe even Swedish national team or whatever. Where do the Sudeva Delhi boys go? At U2 level, Messiah is telling his kids the opponents are British and they enslaved us, so we hard on them. God save these kids that have to hear this kind of hate. Yeah, it's sad. So, oh God. We have a perfect roadmap in front of us in the form of Uzbekistan. Difficult is to copy everything they did. But copying Uzbekistan will not work. Copy paste in sports never works. I remember people said 15 years ago, oh, copy what Japan is doing. Right. And I remember one or two things they tried, and then for example, the AFC tried to do, when was that? 2004, 2005, Vision Asia, right? A project started in Manipur and in Delhi. Now, the Manipur program still exists in the Manipur State League that was started by that program, you know. Um, so for me is um, and Delhi was stopped after a few, not even months, few weeks. So the reality of things, right? And then they said, oh, you know what, you're going to copy some Japanese things and this and that. No, I won't. So therefore, for me, copying the model of XYZ country is not. We need to develop and evolve an Indian model, right? I remember 2016 and 18, people say, oh, you know what, we need to copy the Icelandic model. I was like, okay, what did Iceland do? Iceland is so small that every child at a certain age was scouted and tested and said, okay, are you good enough for this sport, this sport? We're going to do that. Right. Now people say, oh, we need to look at Cape Verde. You're saying we need to look at Uzbekistan. Someone else will say, oh, look at Japan, look at Korea, look at Spain. It doesn't work. Gothia U12 levels like playing in Conference League and Gothia Elitist Champions League. No, it's not playing Conference League. What is? So you're playing grassroots football. Conference League Champions, even Gothia League is not Champions League. Even that is. These are summer tournaments. Get it into your heads. It's not nice to be part of it. For most of the kids, it's enjoyment. And for some teams, they just play for the sake of playing. They're not playing to win even. Right? Gulliver Public was decided to be a national team manager without realizing that he doesn't have any coaching lessons. Yeah, welcome. We all know Conference League is one of our Premier League clubs most of the times. Yeah, but Sean, that's my point is the problem is that the quality that we're talking about at grassroots level is under league. And even if it's better, playing these tournaments, what is it doing for Indian football? Right? Uzbekistan spends 800 crore yearly on football with 200 crore on youth itself. Can India do so? Unlikely. Unlikely is a nice thing, maybe impossible at this stage, right? And the problem is even 200 crores in an Indian context on youth, if it's is it going to be spent, um, you know, in the right way? We'll have to wait and see, right? People in India are biggest copycatters, stealing ideas from each other. Yeah, but Sean, copying ideas, taking ideas is nice, but who's going to implement and how? You know, you know. So. Um, that's the problem, right? If the poem Pritham Kotra heading to East Bengal, one of could could be, might not be. Let's wait and see what happens. Again, many football fans consider Bundesliga and League not League One, League as farmers' league as these leagues are dominant. Yeah, but they don't know what the quality of the league and the setup is. That's the problem. Football fans, again, you know. So and let's say Premier League better as there's more competition with the clubs. Is there more competition? However, look at the football, right? And it was said towards the end, when they were talking about it, that what is the quality of the Premier League per se, right? So there's a lot of questions being asked, um, and it's yeah, it's a problem. So the quality of football is an issue, and is it going in the right direction? Is it not? A lot of questions, and what we follow, what we don't follow. We follow stars. We follow a narrative. We're not doing and following what is good, right? And something which might be good might not be something that big. So we need to find those examples and go that right way. Right, 1 hour 32 minutes. If I haven't, quick reminder: 21 people watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you're liking what we're talking about. If you haven't, subscribe to the channel, and if you haven't, share with friends who love football, like football, to join the Arunfoot family. And yeah, so therefore for me, um, thank you as always for your support. And watch the short videos, as I said. Um, um, did something on the ISL today. Last few days, a lot of stuff on Spain and the World Cup, on India and football, and yeah, Tajikistan, Vietnam, Thailand, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyz Republic, Kuwait, etc. An example you share that were below us or at our level sometime back, and today we're going even backwards. Yeah, and that's the problem. No Pang League is a very good concept. Helps in grassroots player development. Avoiding each for as well would help a lot in bringing other districts of Kerala, Manipur, Kolkata. But, and I've said this also, the Nopang League stands out because they're doing what is normal in most parts of the world. It stands out, and that is our problem. This should not be a standout project or a standalone project in India. It should be the if it's the gold standard, that should be normal. So yeah. So therefore, um, but will others follow and do again? In H shot, for example, in Manipur is a rampant problem. In Mizoram, they're trying to weed it out. With the help of the government and Mizoram Football Association. All these real stars and content creators just want fame. That's why they're releasing same thing. Sadly. Hey Jordan, welcome back. Just did about copy paste. I must tell a friend, many young player talented one usually football when they reach senior level for job, mostly government jobs like railway, army, etc. That's another thing, right? So there are a lot of players whose ambition is ends, so to say, at some stage, and they suddenly then move to yeah, as you say, railways, army, so to say, to services. In the past, it used to be banks as well. Um, yeah, so that's that's another problem, right? So you are playing football at youth level to get to a certain level to actually to get a long term job. You don't have an ambition to be more successful in the long run. Indian football will only start growing the day Indian grassroots coaches realize the players they are producing aren't good enough. So, Raval, I think a lot of grassroots coaches know that. I think, um, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them actually know and understand, right? So that's the problem. Peter Kratky joined A-League club. Yeah, Bina, Peter Kratky's returned to Melbourne City as assistant coach. Yeah, he's gone back to Australia. Yeah, he's gone to the A-League. Ashutosh Mehta got his contract extended by Northeast United. No, by Delhi. Zorawar. Ashutosh Mehta got his contract extended by Sporting Club Delhi. So at 35, another season for Ashu. Let's see what he does. Aniket Yadav, for example, is working as an income tax officer. Zorawar, the best example, right? Think about it. 10 years ago, um, he was playing with the Indian under 16, part of the World Cup squad against Norway against an Erling Holland. And yeah, and we saw a few in last few weeks where Erling Holland was playing. And as you say, Aniket Yadav has left Indian football, has left. He was even playing ISL a few years ago, income tax officer. So Aniket, and that's the sad thing, no? That someone like him decides to do that. And just looking at his career, of course, was in Kolhapur. Is someone from Kolhapur. Went to the academy of Pune FC and then AIFF Elite Academy, joined the Indian Arrows, spent many years with Jamshedpur FC, then successful season at Hyderabad, was even a season at East Bengal, Odisha, Jamshedpur, and then in the Super League Kerala for Calicut last year, and then Khatam, career over, right? And that is the sad part. Why do we see an Anitya Jadhav then deciding, you know what, I've tried my bit in football, I've earned good money. Um, yeah, that's the thing. Lopang League works because the whole society cooperates, parents, schools, teachers, association, etc. work hand in hand. I don't think this kind of cooperation in most parts of the country. So, Joel, very, very good point, very, very valid point. Yes, the Lopang League as such can only work if all stakeholders work towards a common aim. And I've also said maybe the Lopang League, the first or the second generation of players, might not be that good. Maybe they will have to even readjust and switch and change things and rectify. So for me, that's a big thing as such. And we'll have to wait and see. Good night, sir. As a Chelsea fan, I'm having happy sleep for past few days. Yeah, seems like Chelsea are making a few changes to the squad. And yeah, let's see. And of course, Xabi Alonso, not expected. Not a problem, Zoravar. Abhi Saka, the player to score to playing. Was it CFL level, no? Avijit Sarkar, where was he? Where was he? Avijit was with Mohammedan. Yeah. And then yeah, he broke his leg, right? He broke his leg. Um and then I think he was playing for someone yeah, Mohammedan and then Trishur Magic and then Bhawan last season was playing with Bhawanipur FC in the CFL. And then this season, I guess a smaller CFL team, maybe not. In WTC, he was turned into a winger. No wonder he left. No, Zura, why would he leave because he's turned into a winger? If he's turned into a winger and you're good, you know, so yeah. So um so therefore, yeah, but it's a sad story. So you know what Iron Shabir Yusuf playing under Italian legend is Indian passport holder. The boy in the UAE, no? If I'm not wrong. If that's the one you mean, Elevina, then yes, I've heard about him. Won't be surprised if in some competition, Army, Navy, or Air Force win the whole thing. Sometimes I feel it is only foreigners make the difference. Otherwise, most of the time it's at the same level. Sujal, the problem is it's not at the same level because at the Army, at the Navy or Air Force, you're not training that much. You're not getting those inputs coaches and all, you're not also getting the right nutrition, so to say, compared to what you get there. So therefore, those are, I feel, big differences, if you ask me, between. So therefore, for me, um, yeah. So therefore, that's something. Tomorrow, Commonwealth Games is starting. Yes, Elvina, tomorrow, the Commonwealth Games on the 23rd, starting in Glasgow. And yeah, let's hope India gets some medals. So let's see what they do. Only Rahim Ali and Edmund made it from the center batch, and even they are average. Edmund is not under 17 batch. He's older. Um, Edmund was is Edmund Rald Indika is 99 born. Yeah, he was at the AIFF Elite Academy. He was at BFC also, Indian Junior, but he was not part of that squad. If I want to look at who's made it from that under 17 batch, is Rahim Ali, Anwar Ali, and Abuya, and sorry, and Suresh. Right, those would be the four who you could say close to a decade later still. So so therefore for me, um yeah, that's sort of, that's the reality of things. That's the reality of things. If again, if you we like it or not, but that's the thing. Mr. Major was in footy today. Anything to highlight? Hi Simon. The one thing that is going around and that was announced by a UAE club is that an Indian midfielder named Lamna Ralte was playing with Srini Deccan, is supposedly signed with Al Rams in the UAE second division, third tier of the UAE. It was announced by the club themselves. So therefore, for me, it's always a question. The only problem is, I was looking for his profile and I'm a little. I've not found the profile of the player. So therefore, for me, um, 1 second. I found the player profile. Sorry, let me just check. With the Mesos is always difficult to find. Yeah, that's him. 21 center forward, supposedly. Okay. Uh, if the stats are right, okay, correct me if the stats is right. Um, he scored 1 goal in 26 matches. He's a striker. So then, um, so then for me, yeah, then a lot of questions are there about the player. Um, but again, I hope that for the player that he is gonna get his chance over there. Very very difficult to see. Again, looks like someone might have placed him or something. He's a striker, as I said. Do you have any Indian player to watch in the next World Cup? No. Bro, under these tournaments, I just go watch players that I've not seen him. Um, so yeah, good for him. But is it UAE second division good for his development? Simon, I would think that the third tier of the UAE system would be good because he's going to be forced to train and play with good quality players. Uh, so again, to me, I hope that it's an opportunity. Again, I don't know if it's come via the agent or if it's come via the club. It could be that Srini Deccan maybe has placed him. So I wish him all the best. But to me, it doesn't look like a sporting transfer at the moment. Rohit Fernandez would be a player to watch out for given notice that give him game time. Could be Naramohan Gante, yes, but again, I'm not. That's the problem. No? There are players that we would like to see and get game time, but are they going to get game time You know, no, I don't know, we don't know. That's the challenge at the moment that I see. And to me, as I say, players need to play. Durand Cup is a good opportunity for younger boys to get game time. Um, so let's wait and see. It trains apparently with the Srini Deccan B said makes sense. So as I said, anyone who goes abroad tries his luck is again the only thing that can happen to him is it doesn't work out and he has to come back to India. But again, he has on his CV, you know what? I was 6 months or a year in the UAE playing football. That strengthens your CV. So I wish the boy best, all the best. But um, yeah, we just have to wait and see what if and what he can do. And again, as always, I don't have any expectations. If AIFF has brains, they should scout UAE and Qatar for Indian passport players. Whatever it was done, I remember Abhishek Yadav did that a few times, you know, and um, and at the time it didn't work out. I remember, but again, players have come to India. Sahal, for example, backdoor via the college system, but he's come to India, and yeah, but you will not find so many that you will say, oh, you know what, Indian passport, there's a left, right, and center. You've got three, four, most probably. That's done. In the youth, you have some more now because they're allowing it, but it's not that it's not that you've got, you know, a lot. According to you, which is the best foreign striker in ISL currently? So far, who've been retained or who've been signed, I would always say Jay McLaren most probably. Chennai, Chennai is building something like their approach quite the way Goa, FC Goa works. Simon looks like it, but again, you have to remember that Clifford is there. And yes, there's been quite a number of um, Goan signings as well. I was surprised last night they announced Glenn Martins, came out of nowhere. And yeah, one has to wait and see not only that, Ayush Chetri is signed for them, rate him highly. Namte is left Chennai, so that was a surprise. But again, so for me, interesting to see what these boys can do. Yes, would wish him the best anyways. Yeah, I think all of us need to wish him the best. If he succeeds, it's great, lovely, brilliant. But will he succeed? That is the problem. That's the final question and the most difficult one. Yeah. And to me, yeah, let's see. Let's see what he can do. Many Indian players from Kerala playing in those youth leagues. There was one which I've missed. Whenever Tashin Mohammed Jamshid, even if AFF had scouted him, the UAE wanted him. Sorry, the Qatar wanted him. The AFF would have never gotten the player. We don't have a system where we're going to give the opportunities to player to play for India. And again, if even if you scout XYZ player and a UAE or a Qatar wants them to play for them, they will play for those countries. They will not play for us. So I think that is one thing you need to keep in mind. Omisa Al Nazara is the best. And Labina, he needs to prove it, no? He didn't prove it last season. So therefore, he has to prove that one season wasn't a fluke. Right? That's something that I've heard now from a lot of people. Yeah. No matter how much I watch FIFA World Cup or UEFA Champions League or Premier League, but I never feel the same emotion when I watch Indian national team. I would always watch India as Tajikistan friendly over World Cup final. Wow, Sujal, big statement. Um, big statement. And good to see. Lovely. That's the passion. That's the emotion that I would like to see from Indian football fans. Yeah, you've said it perfectly. Right. For me, that's very, very important. Always was, always is. Is East Bengal media handle active? I haven't seen them announce signings officially yet. Transfer listed them under East Bengal page. Simon, the East Bengal FC media handle is dead because if East Bengal FC media handle is East Bengal slash Imami, and Imami informally has left. So therefore, there is no current, I think, East Bengal club handle to announce those transfers. And Transfermarkt India, be careful. Once in a while, you will see players already listed for XYZ club, and then for some reason or the other, that player doesn't sign for the club or has never been actually signed. So therefore, just sometimes, as I said, with everything else, just be careful these days. Um, and you're very right. There's no confirmation at the moment, so we have to just wait and see what's happening. India versus Tajikistan handball, Spain versus Argentina final. Which is one do you prefer? Zoravar, what was Argentina's game? I mean, if you want to say uh, India's was haram ball, what was Argentina playing? Haram ball XXL or Scaloni haram whatever ball? What was that? That was pathetic. India Tajikistan was not good, but Argentina for a World Cup final was rubbish. Was pathetic. I'm not using harder words. So if you ask me, I would rather watch India Tajikistan because that World Cup final was not World Cup final worthy. But that's not the first time. Argentina has been doing this in multiple World Cup finals, especially against Germany. 1990, watch that. 2014, watch that as well. Right? So um, India Tajikistan. Right? If you ask me to watch Spain versus France, if you want me to watch England versus France, any day those matches. But some of these Argentina matches were, again, might be exciting, but it was football wise, they were rubbish. Right? Sorry. Hopefully, East Bengal see qualify ACL2 and have a good campaign after the recruitment they've done. But let's see. ACL2 qualification and then good campaign. Yeah, what is a good campaign? Again, Indian clubs in the last few years lost all their games in ACL2, right? Because the standard in ACL2 has gone up. That needs to be remembered. And yeah, let's wait and see. Thanks, sir. Quite astonishing to see zero fan engagement from one of the biggest clubs in India football. Yeah, but Simon, if you don't know what your structure is, if you don't know, again, are you going to create after Quest East Bengal, after East Bengal SC, East Bengal FC? I don't even know if you're going to be now FCEB. I don't know what the next one is. So, yeah. So, therefore, um, it's Simon, if you expect the Kolkata clubs to do fan engagement, and this is, we were discussing a lot about fan engagement, this, uh, you know, um, so for me, they're not there to do fan engagement. They've never done fan engagement. The fans of these clubs, the value of the fans of these clubs are not seen by the club. Argentina was the best Argentina match this World Cup. So remember, not even the match, the last half an hour, the first hour, England controlled proceedings, right? So therefore, even that wasn't good. If you look at that game was actually not good because first Argentina didn't know what they were doing and then England didn't know what they were doing. That's why it was actually a rubbish game. So this is what I'm saying. Just because it's the World Cup and it's a semi-final or a final doesn't mean that's a good game. Spain played a good game, no doubt about it. But Spain is like, hey, listen, 3 hours, 4 hours, at some stage we will score a goal. That's your problem. If Spain had a striker, they would have finished Argentina in 90 minutes. If they had a striker to score them goals, if they had a Holland, if they had an Mbappe, Argentina 4-5-0 could have been possible. There are some fan pages that are putting in info for East Bengal FC lately. That's good. Sujal, that's great. That's what is about fan culture. But again, there are a lot of people who are also speculating about X, Y, Z, this, that, everything. Sometimes very difficult in my opinion. Right? So that's the thing. So yeah. Hi Kohli, I am doing fine. Good to see you back. For me, third place was the best match. Yeah, Ribina, that was a why that and why is that a good game? Because um you were not fighting for the title anymore. Free flowing football. England was exceptionally good in the first half. France were really bad, but then France hit back in the second half, and then it was boom, 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 and it could have gone in either way. That's one of the many issues that plague Bengal football. Yeah, Simon, so yeah, that's one of those things that is very sad because the fans of East Bengal and Mohun Bagan should be an asset. Should be a massive asset for their clubs. Mohun Supergiant should always be grateful that they were lucky to find Goenka. Yeah, or Goenka found them, whatever you want to say, but yes. And those people who were after this whole ETK Mohun Bagan and remove it and get rid of Mr. Goenka and all that stuff, they don't realize that if Mr. Goenka is gone, None of the transfers that have happened this summer would have happened, right? So, reality, brutal reality, but that is the reality. Ferran Torres, who lost under 17 World Cup in Kolkata, won FIFA World Cup for Spain. Yeah, so that's the story, right? I remember Ferran Torres playing in that final against England in Kolkata. I was there on the 29th of October 2017, and yeah, one of the few who've made it from that squad. Again, let me quickly. Um, Let me quickly go through the Spain squad if I find it. Uh, 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 uh. One second. Let me find that. One second. Spain. There is Spain. So if I look at the Spain squad, Ferran Torres, number 7, was there. Abel Ruiz, Sergio Gomez, and not there. Mark Vidal said plays. Eric Garcia was also part of that squad who won the World Cup. So those are the two who were there, right? So 2 out of 21 made it. Argentina is now either a hit or a miss. Messi could either be a blessing in disguise, but very well go the way. Simon, at the moment, I fear Argentina could go the way of Uruguay and Brazil, of 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 a downward spiral. Mon fans are happy with Goenka, now angry with Vinay Chopra. Yeah. Abel Ruiz and Brewster, the lost wonder kids from that World Cup. Yeah, very true. Very, very true. Top strikers, both of them, especially Ryan Brewster at Liverpool also. Klopp was rating him, but yeah. If Goenka goes, Mohammad Supergiant will be left with nothing. That's why I believe they should work more towards being at least self-dependent. After all, they're the biggest club in India. Sujal, what is the work that they can do? What is the work that Mohun Bagan as a club, uh, you know, um, the problem is that Mr. Goenka goes, the money goes, and then there's nothing to be done, right? Luis de la Fuente and our own Habas Dadu have so much in common. They have so much in common. Simon, what did I miss about Antonio Lopez Habas and Luis de la Fuente? What is the commonality? Messi was crying in a post-match presentation in World Cup. It was heartbreaking to see go walk in dressing room alone. So Navar, you know what? And this is weird, but I'm telling you this as from a football fan perspective. Me as a football fan, in the last 15 years, whenever the discussion cropped up, Messi or Ronaldo always said Lionel Messi. But the shenanigans also that he did, I mean, and in the final against Kukurea, all that, whatever. I, my, my, my feelings towards Lionel Messi as a footballer is diminished, right? Because um, to me, you know, um, yeah, because they overdid it in this World Cup, the whole Argentinian shebang. Mohammad Superjan fans are angry with poor team making, not with club. Is it poor team making? I thought this time the team making is better than in the last few years. Even though I don't know how many Indian defenders you want, but that's a different question. But I thought at least you brought in Zelkovic. So I don't know. To me, it looked better than in the last few years, if you ask me. Them being bald is the only common thing. I mean, both look so similar in appearance and very close by age. Nothing personal. Acha, okay. Sorry, I thought there was some similarity. I don't know, worked for the same club. Um, um, and all those things. And yeah, De La Fuente, impressive career. No, if I see that he was, since 2013, he's been coaching in the Spanish system for 13 years now. And before that, Alaves, Athletic Bilbao, Orella, Portugalete, nothing big, right? And if you look at his career, he's an Athletic Bilbao legend, so to say. Spent some time at Sevilla. Yeah, and again, he was never Athletic Bilbao senior team coach. Always coach of the B team. So yeah, so therefore, from that perspective, interesting. Huh? Not a high profile manager to win your World Cup. Great. I meant last season. Okay, sorry. Okay, so understood. The Lion fans base it's divided. The Neo fans are the old ATK fans, continuing the ATK Mono to Mono, while the Lazy fans have an anti-crisis, which still plague us. Yeah, but you can't deny Messi as a player still was good. This World Cup carried his team. So now he was good, but again, if you see the some of the goals would have never stood. He should have gotten a red card in the first game. What's the legacy then? What's the and that's the whole point. All the things that we speak about would have never happened if he gets against Algeria the red card, which was a deserving red card. That's the whole point. I wonder if people recognize the club as its predecessor. Yeah, some do most probably, no? I'm not sure, but I'm sure some will do, some or a lot won't. Let's put it this way, and um, that's the way how things are. Hey Vijesh, what are chances are going to you for our clubs in AFC this season? Last chance to earn some points. Challenge League waiting for us. Vijesh, I have no feeling at the moment because yeah, we're just a few weeks away from the AFC Champions League 2 qualifiers. East Bengal have their own set of problems. FC Goa, complete rebuild. Um, I don't know. I actually don't know what to expect. Wait, to be very honest with you. I don't know what I would expect from Mangi from that team. I don't know what I expect from Senior Habas with East Bengal. Very difficult. Very difficult to say something. Right. So that's the reality. East Bengal fans keep mocking Mohammed Supergiant fans that they sold their club to corporates. However, every Indian club sells itself to a corporate if it's an old-fashioned club who's playing at the top level, right? Mohun Bagan did it. East Bengal are doing it in a different way, but de facto it's the same thing, right? And East Bengal's problem is, hey, Mohun Bagan has had stability, right, over the last 5, 6 years. East Bengal hasn't had stability for the last nearly 10 since Kingfisher walked out. And yeah, East Bengal did win the league this season, but um, yeah, they won it because it was again. There's a lot of things where you can go on and on and on, but um, you can East Bengal fans can mock Mohun fans with their performances in Asia. That East Bengal fans can surely do, but otherwise, I don't know. Now, when Reliance is gone from this operating thing, I would love to see them have a senior club, maybe investing in Mumbai City or even making a new club with Reliance Foundation as academy. So, Ujjwal, they're not going to do that. They're not into a club business. I don't see them doing that. And they will do it. The lucky part is, and I'm happy about it, that the Reliance Foundation is still there. But otherwise, no. See, not one player is white. Messi selling the Korea talk as covering his mother is border and disgusting, so it needs to be questioned. Simon, as I said, if you had asked me pre-World Cup in this Messi versus Ronaldo discussion, I would have said Messi, and I would still say even Lionel Messi. And I think, yeah, he's still a great player. But forget the behaviors of the Argentinians, but even his behavior. Because Lionel Messi for me was always a gentleman footballer. Maybe I was wrong. I think I'm wrong, right? Um, so to me, um, I'm disappointed. Same with Ronaldo, his egoistic mindset certainly got him to the level as he was, and perhaps still is, but he crossed the limit sometimes. Limit? Yeah. The problem is Cristiano Ronaldo is not a team player. And football at the end of the day is still a team sport. And Portugal has failed in this World Cup because of Cristiano Ronaldo being egoistic. Of course, also because of their manager and the players not getting to their level. But to me, all of that is irrelevant. East Bengal fans still claim they play ISL on their own might and not selling their club and merging with others. Yeah, Arunava, very nice, but without the corporate support and with the goodwill, let's be very clear. If Mamata Banerjee and Reliance hadn't helped, East Bengal would be not be playing ISL, right? And it was very, very close to happening that way. So therefore, don't come with this, oh, we playing. You're not playing on your own might. You were given an opportunity because people wanted to do that. If they didn't want to do that, um, it wouldn't have happened. Reality. But try, and this is the problem that fan bases, be it when we talk to the whole topic of Argentina or Messi or Ronaldo or East Bengal or Mohun Bagan or whatever, they don't want to believe the facts. If you like to believe what you want to believe, great. But if you don't want to believe in the facts that are there in those respective matters, then it is a problem, in our opinion. And it is a massive problem for Indian football because East Bengal and Mohun Bagan should be at the forefront of everything in regard to development of Indian football. They should be that important, but they aren't. You know, Havas is Bruzon, who do you prioritize? They were just two different managers. Um, Oscar brought East Bengal finally the ISL title. So great success for Oscar. And Senor Havas has been the most successful manager since the ISL started. So let's wait and see. East Bengal were not ready for ISL. They just came because Mohun came. So yeah, very, very true. Guess things would have gone south of ISL didn't come in with that invite in 2019. I don't remember the ATK Mohun 80 East Bengal collab rumors. Simon, there was a lot of discussion during the creation of the roadmap, and um, do you integrate these two clubs or don't? There are a lot of discussions, and I tell you, in the end, I said we need to do it, but there was a stage where I felt internally said maybe it might be better for the ISL to continue without these two clubs and have actually ATK build itself, because ATK was actually connecting with the younger generation in Kolkata. Right. So that's a tough discussion that was happening in 2016, 17, 18. And yeah, and if you look at today, the two clubs are not doing what is needed to bring and grow the value of Indian football. The fans will tell you that, but nah. What East Bengal and Mumbai as politicians, what to expect? So it's not about the politicians. It's not in East Bengal. Mumbai is not about. Look at who's leading. Those people are not out and out politicians, right? They have other interests. So don't mix that up. Without acknowledging the problem, can you go towards a solution? So very well said, and that is our biggest problem in Indian football. That how can we get out of? Again, we talk about acknowledging, you know, that there are issues, there are problems, acknowledging, finding solutions for the future, and they've been running around. And if you listen to Nituda at the moment, then in these long interviews, sorry, Dada, um, factually, actually not true. Some of them are actually lies. You know, at its current state, which clubs can you say as the pioneer of Indian football, if any? None, Sam. Indian football has just, you know, you know, and because the clubs should have played a different role, right? If I would like to talk about the last 15 years, maybe you talk about BFC. Maybe you talk, despite all their problems, about the Blasters, maybe. But I would generally say the Indian football has survived despite of the clubs, because the clubs have not done what they're supposed to do. If you're a club and you're not a senior team entity, grassroots youth development is part of, should be infrastructure, should be part of your DNA. Very few entities have done that over the last 100 plus years, because you give me access to this, you give me access to that, I don't have to pay for it. Big problem. But after Goenka mocked the legacy clubs, the attendance of ATK dropped massively. They hardly had less than 5,000 supporters since until the merger. Zanavar, yeah, maybe that's the way, or not. Again, it's worth a conversation, I think, as always, about these things. Um, but I think if ATK, if let's say the decision was taken as part of the roadmap to say, you know what, East Bengal Mohun Bagan, you're not in. I think Goenka would have done the marketing that we spoke about earlier today. Even while talking about Indian football as a whole, everybody has solutions, but no one has settled into what is the real problem. Very good, Sujal. You've understood it. Again, and this is, thank you guys. I would like to say a lot of you boys, thank you very, very much to be part of these conversations, because it's really enjoyable, because a lot of you boys have actually understood some of the issues, want to discuss it in a way. Apart from cricket, only Kabaddi owners are able to do break even. No. Who tells you that? Star is pulling out. Kabaddi is in a very bad shape. I was talking to the league commissioner last December at a conference. Kabaddi is also a nice story, right? But it's not. Indian sports, the way it's built, is built for failure, not for success. I do feel the contribution of Goa, Mumbai surpasses even East Bengal, Mohun Tempo, etc. in Asia. 3 and 7 points is the biggest stage of Asia in itself, an achievement. Bangalore season was probably the closest. Simon, Asian success is not my benchmark of saying what is the contribution of clubs, right? Because as is with the World Cup, in these knockout competitions, you have to sometimes also have luck. Who are you facing? Who are you not facing? Again, for the question was about who's contributed, and there, um, I think the biggest contributors are the players. A lot of them have had success despite of the system being the system. Right? Baichung Bhutia is not a product of the system. Sunil is not a product of the system. I Vision is not a product of the system. Let's talk about the three biggest players that I've seen in the last 30 years. Excluding East Bengal, Moran, any other clubs are praying for the coming ISL. There's no transfer rumors for others. All players are talking to them. Devashish, Chennai has done a number of signings, right? Goa have done signings. Northeast have done signings. Mumbai City is talking to players. BFC have made signings. Punjab have made signings. Maybe it's not coming through, but yeah, again, I think the Blasters are the only one, and Blasters, Interkashi, and Diamond Harbour are most probably the ones who are not, where we can't hear it, but the rest of the teams are doing their work. JST Phagwara, are they nowhere active? Heard a lot about them from my grandfather. They are. They got the JCT Academy. Sadly, JCT as a company financially failed in 2010. Their exit was not because of football. It was because the owners were having financial issues and they had to reduce their spendings, and they shut down the first team and were only playing with the academy in the Punjab Super League. But yeah, JCT, brilliant. Biggest product is Sukhvinder Singh. But even Sunil Chhetri, reactivated by him. Renly played there, Bhutia played there, Vijay played there, Joe Paul played there. Lot of players. JCT, brilliant. Indian sports market is extremely inflated, be it cricket or be it others, so it's bound to fail aside of cricket. Even cricket is failing, Zoravar. If you speak to people, maybe cricket has reached its saturation point. They've milked Indian cricket so much that, from what I'm hearing from people, it is a big, big problem. What a time that was. Kabaddi plus ISL, both leagues started in gap of 1 year. Initially, when I was small, I used to support Chennai and ISL and New Mumbai and Kabaddi because of Anup Kapoor nostalgia. It wasn't started within a year, Shom. It was within weeks. I was there when we started Mumbai City. I was actually there for some of the kabaddi practice matches, and even for the start of the thing in the NSCI. I actually watched you Mumbai in some practice games. Yeah, it was within weeks. And the same production guys, the media guys who did kabaddi, actually did ISL a few months later. Yes, sir. I was seeing that from nation angle. Of course, this what comes about every club. 10 years plus years without proper academies, training pitches, and women's teams are unacceptable. Yeah, that's the thing. The reason why we aren't seeing any more Chaudhuri Vision is because of the high salaries. Young footballers have no motivation to prove themselves. It is hard, but yes. Rubber on the spot. To be honest, Bangalore AFC Cup final is kind of overrated campaign. The format was a mess. Anyone in the AFC Cup could have won. Respect to BFC for doing what no Indian club did, but still. Yeah, so again, as I say, with the knockouts and this and that, you can't do that today, right? With all the teams which are there in the ACL2, you are nowhere near to get to a semi-final final. Was Pune FC the last of the era of the GCCs, Mahindras? Yeah, if you want to say that, yes. Again, Mahindra also was no financial reason. This was just Anand Mahindra thinking, hey, football is not worth it. He sold it different. That's the problem. They sell it, hey, yeah. Do you remember Ian Hume was talking about kabaddi and the way local people used to go to officials while they were training? Yeah, yeah. Hume and I have spoken about it as well in the past. Very true. Sure. Those were the days. Right, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Let me slowly come to an end of this Indian football and more discussion today. Thank you again for joining in, guys. And a request: do watch my short videos. Watch everything I try to post. Um, and yeah, thanks you for supporting. And we're slowly growing. Again, like content here on Iron Foot, share it with others, hype it. Without your support, the channel can't grow. And again, I need your support as always. And thanks a lot. As I was saying, I still remember the Ian Hume, Javi Lara, Borja Fernandez era. Yeah, great players. Good answer. Tomorrow will you stream? Not sure. Sure. I'm actually at a sporting conference in Düsseldorf tomorrow. So let's see if I get back home on time. You must be ready to go back in time and play for Canada. Yeah. Yeah. Good enough. Tomorrow stream. Yes. Not sure. Sure. So the most another thing. That's the thing for me, by the way, where those foreigners who are not as famous or known were called twice. Via agents, Sujal, via agents, they came in. IMG especially did that. Right, with that, thank you very much. Good night, everyone. And as I said, give it a like, share it, subscribe, and watch my short content. Follow me on other socials. I'll be back most probably on Friday. Bye, everyone.